I know a lot of you guys have been wondering, what's the best Void 3.0 loadouts to use with Blink? Well, luckily for you today, we're going to cover just that. It's been a week since we received Witch Queen and Void 3.0 along with it, and I have made my opinions on what I think the best ways to run your Blink Warlock in the Crucible are. Today I'm going to cover my two favorite aspect and fragment combinations and explain why I think they are good. So, now that you know how this is going to go, let's jump into the first one. Now, I think a lot of the debate surrounding what to run will come from the aspects. After all, we still haven't had that much time with the new abilities in the grand scheme of things, so people haven't settled their minds on everything yet. But, for right now, this is what I think is the combination to run for your Blink Warlock. For our aspects, I think the best choices are Feed the Void, otherwise known as Devour, and Child of the Old Gods, otherwise known as Clarence. I think that Devour is almost too good not to put into every build. The health regen it gives you is insane and nearly vital for sustaining long gunfights, especially with multiple enemies. And Child of the Old Gods is absolutely incredible for locking down areas of the map, not to mention it will weaken your enemy and return grenade and melee energy to you. Lockdown potential and sustain makes for an amazing time, and with these two aspects we are going to get 4 fragment slots to do with as we please. But, as amazing as these are alone, let's cover the other parts of the build that really make it pop. So, for our grenade we are going to be using Axion bolts. Now, these did catch a nerf to their overcharged versions, which is part of the reason why I would rather just forego the Chaos Accelerant altogether, as the base version of Axions are almost just as good as the charged. Axions provide even more lockdown, and the ability to change your enemy's positioning is a huge boon to any Crucible player. I do have a healing rift on, just for even more sustain. As for our super, I will almost exclusively be running Nova Warp. It is our only roaming super, and with practice mixing it with Blink, it is absolutely insane. I would highly recommend learning how to use it to the best of your ability. It even got a small buff in a way when mixed with Devour. Before 3.0, when you got a kill with Nova Warp, it gave you a small heal. It should be known that it still does. However, mixed with Devour, you can proc Devour every time you kill somebody with your super. Therefore, you are fully healing after every super kill, which is something this super desperately needed, and it really took it to the next level. Okay, let's go over the last and perhaps biggest parts of the build, the fragments. Starting off with Echo of Persistence, which states that void buffs applied to you have increased duration. Now, I tested this because I wanted to weigh the fact of the extended Devour with the fact that we are losing 10 recovery. Here's what I found. With the fragment active, our Devour lasts 15 seconds, whereas without it, our Devour will last 10 seconds. This is a sizable increase, as 5 seconds is quite a long time in a Crucible game, and that extra 5 seconds could mean life or death in a 1v2. Now, let's assume you are like me at 100 recovery and put this on and go to 90. Here's what that does. At 100, you would be at 43% recovery rate, and at 90, you go down to 34% recovery rate. This is a whole 9% loss, but I do think that the extra 5 seconds on Devour outweighs that loss, and you can also slap on an extra recov mod and get back to 100 recov, along with the extra 5 seconds on Devour. Our second fragment is Echo of Expulsion, which states, Void ability final blows cause targets to explode, and also gives us a 10 intellect boost. I think this is a great absent-minded fragment that you can slot into any build and forget about it, but be very happy when it ends up doing work for you. Anytime our empowered melee or grenade gets a final blow, it will explode the enemy and do some great damage to anyone around them. Now I do want to add that it kills from your Child of the Old Gods will not explode enemies, which I don't personally understand, and I think they should definitely change. But as of right now, it doesn't blow the enemies up when it kills them. So, keep that in mind. Next up is Echo of Remnants, which states that your lingering grenade effects have increased duration. This is a great fragment for keeping your enemies locked down or scrambling. In this case, we are using Axion bolts, so they will chase enemies for longer, which gives us more time to get in position and take them down as they scramble to escape or kill the Axion bolt. On top of this, we have our Child of the Old Gods ready to go, and combined, we can cause major frustration for our enemies as we take free reign of the map with ease. The last fragment that we are going to talk about is Echo of Dilation. It states, while crouched, you sneak faster and gain enhanced radar resolution. On top of that, it also gives you 10 mobility and 10 intellect. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying, that I think this fragment is slept on. Any great PvP player is going to utilize their radar to its maximum potential. Your eyes will be constantly shifting back and forth from it and what is in front of you. Information is the name of the game, and that is exactly what this will give you. The fine-tuning your radar gets while you crouch is an amazing tool for sussing out exactly where the enemy is, and will let you decide how to strike. Not to mention that while you are crouched, you will move a little faster, which is always a nice advantage to have. Add in the fact that you are receiving 20 raw stats, and this is an amazing fragment, and deserves more respect on its name. That is, in my opinion, the best build to run on your Void 3.0 Blink Warlock. But I will show you one more that I have been enjoying. Okay, so that last build has some good lockdown potential, but this build takes it to the next level. Let's start with our aspects. First off, we have Chaos Accelerant, and we're pairing that with Child of the Old Gods. Before we break that down, I would like to add that we are running Nova Warp again, Healing Rift, and Vortex Grenades. Now, as I said before, the name of the game with this build is Lockdown. You're going to use this build to make as much of the map yours as possible. We are using Chaos Accelerant with a Vortex Grenade to lock down areas like doorways that people may push us through. With Chaos Accelerant, the Vortex Grenade will have a much larger radius, and it will linger for longer. We also have our Child of the Old Gods for even more lockdown. Your Vortex Grenade will cover the one angle, and your Child can cover another, while you shoot any enemy you may see. It should be mentioned that Vortex Grenades were buffed, and will slightly pull enemies in when thrown near them, almost always securing a few ticks of damage. I do want to mention that while we are missing Devour, we will lose some sustain, but that is remedied slightly through our Healing Rift and something else that we will talk about soon. Now, let's break down these fragments. To start us off, we have Echo of Remnants, which, as we covered earlier, will make our Void Grenades last longer. So, paired with our Chaos Accelerant, our Vortex Grenades are going to be lasting quite a long time. The long duration and large radius is going to give us ample time to make any play we need while not worrying about an enemy pushing us from the angle we cut off. Next up, we have Echo of Undermining, which states, your Void Grenades weaken targets. When a target is weakened, they move slower, take increased damage, and won't fire as accurately. And, with our huge radius Vortex Grenades, it will be no problem to weaken our enemies. Adding to that, I told you that Vortex Grenades do a small pull-in of enemies near it on deploy, so you can use it aggressively to weaken an enemy and then push, but most of the time I usually overcharge the Vortex and leave it on an angle for a lockdown, and if any enemy is foolish enough to push through it, they will take massive damage and be weakened for easy cleanup. For our last fragment, we'll be using Echo of Leeching. Before I read this one, I do want to say that you can substitute this fragment for Echo of Exchange, which will give grenade energy on melee final blows. However, I prefer Echo of Leeching, which states, melee final blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies, and gives us 10 resilience. Now, one of the weak points of this build is the lack of Devour, so we have to make up for it any way we can. One way is through our Healing Rift, but this fragment is the next way. Whenever you get those melee final blows, your health will rapidly regenerate, which can save your life if more enemies happen to be near. Not to mention, it will also give your allies the health regen, so you can't go wrong there. Throw in 10 resilience, and this is a very solid fragment. Again, you can swap this for Echo of Exchange if you would like, which will lose you some sustain, but will give you your grenade more often. But I will leave that choice up to you, and just let it be known that I prefer Echo of Leeching. All that being said, I've covered my top 2 Blink Warlock loadouts at the moment. Let me know if you agree with my takes and what you have been running. The best part of Void 3.0 is the mixing and matching we can do, and the personalization is amazing and really breathes new air into the subclass. I have several Blink build videos using Void 3.0, and I'll have those in the top right and on the end screen. If you enjoy, then I would really appreciate it if you left a like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload in the future. We're almost at 300 subscribers and I'm excited to get there. But for now, I better keep theory crafting. Have a great day, Guardians.